Hi, my name is Katie Hu and I'm a first year at Emory University. So today I'm filming a new kind of video, which is just me sitting down, having a video talking about the books that I've been reading for the past 3 weeks. And I'm not filming a vlog because I really want to make videos. I've been wanting to make videos like this, just sitting down, having a conversational talk about books. And let's get started. So the first book that I read I started 3 weeks ago was called Amusing Ourselves to Death. And it's really, really good because I think I haven't read a book that has this nice natural flow of writing for a long time. So the book pulls a contrast between two ages, the age of exposition, which is the first a third of the book, and the age of exposition includes typography, which puts an emphasis on logic, reason, a sequence of time, and distance, objectivity. So an example will be Abraham Lincoln giving speeches, and the speeches, to deliver them, you have to have them written, and it takes a long period of time, and the audience needs time to process it as well. And in contrast with the age of exposition is the age of show business, which is on the title page. And the age of show business includes everything from telegraph to TV that we watch on a daily basis, and also like more modern ones like TikTok and YouTube. And compared to the detachment in the age of exposition, the age of show business, the media culture, really is, so the pro-show business people would advocate for how the age of show business pulls everyone in the world, in the country, into one close neighborhood. And that's their main argument. But the thing is, this neighborhood is made up ultimately of strangers who know nothing about each other than the most superficial facts, useless facts. And that's the main argument of the author Neil Postman, is that what is media culture doing to us in the modern world? My thoughts on that is that, so I lived in New Jersey for 4 years, and everyone there is pretty fast-paced, and especially in New York City, everyone is pretty indifferent. And I feel like everyone is so on the move, and few people actually slow down and think, takes time to read, which is the main difference from the age of exposition and the age of show business, is that you don't need time to process a TV episode. You don't need time to, you don't need the idea of sequence or order or detachment and watching TV. You can just sit down and watch from any episode you want, any time, any second, any day that you like. But it's different from reading because, you start from one chapter and then you proceed onto another chapter. And you have to follow a certain sequence. So I think in the age of show business, you start to lose the order of time. And I think that's where the problem lies, is that you start doing one thing at a place, you started it, and then you probably never ending up finishing, and that's okay at the present time. And I think that's where the issue might come from, because it doesn't matter what you think to start or to even minding to finish it. And I think Neil Postman really does a good job delivering his ideas, especially at the end, and connecting great works that I really enjoy, like 1984 by George Orwell and Brave New World by Huxley. Overall, it's an enjoyment to read this book, and I highly recommend this. It's probably one of the favorite books that I've read so far. So I'll definitely recommend this, and let us move on to the next book. So this is the book that I read for fun, and these are a few books that I read for my classes. namely my philosophy class. So we started it with Plato's Republic, and then we proceeded to Plato's 5 Dialogues. We didn't read all of it. We read An Apology and Meno. So Meno, it introduces geometry into the world, and Apology is about how Socrates was sentenced to death, and basically he delivered a speech to defend himself at the end, and how he defies the convention, and he willingly embraces death, basically at the end. So Meno was really about how you want to find the form of the good, and before we find the form of the good, we have to define it. So what is the form of the good? So let's think about this. How do you define something that is so abstract and you can't find the form of a good? But let alone form of the good, we don't even know what form of the good is, right? We don't know what a shape is. We don't know what a color is. How do you define a color? So this is navy blue. But if it goes a little lighter, is this still navy blue? And that's the argument of Plato, is that how do you define shape? It's the boundary of an object extends to. Is that a shape? You can give a triangle, a rectangle, a circle, anything. But those are shapes, or a triangle is a shape, but they're not the form of the shape. They're not the common ground of how you would call all of the shapes are. So how can you find one thing that all shapes have in common? And that's the main idea of, I think, in Meno, is how you find something that is shared by all the things. So let's say a bee. How you define a bee? You can point to a bee and say, oh, that's a bee, but that's not the bee. So that applies to the same idea of the form of the good. So the good is capitalized. How you ultimately define the good. And I think, in my opinion, it's not the result that matters. It's the process of trying to find and define and reach, and failing to reach, ultimately, the form of the good. And I don't think it's possible to find the form of the good. I don't think equating God or equating faith to good is necessarily the best result that we can resort to. And at the end of Meno, Plato talked about how, or Socrates, Plato writes about Socrates, so Socrates is the main character of Plato's work. That's what his, Plato was a disciple of Socrates, as probably all of you know. So at the end, Socrates or Plato, they said, the form of the good is the gift of God. But I'm very not satisfied with the answer, because I don't think that answer fully answered the question of how you would define the form of the good. So yeah, the ending was not that satisfying in my opinion, but still it gives you a lot of space to think about trying to define something, making you question something that you probably wouldn't think about. So how you define a cup, how you define a water bottle, what makes a water bottle? If it's like sphere or it's elongated, it's still a water bottle? Yes. So what is a water bottle? What is the definition of a water bottle? It's made of different materials. It's made of glass, it's made of plastic, it's made of cup, paper. So yeah, it's good to think about those. And I really enjoy my class. Philosophy class is my favorite class this semester. So yeah, that's Meno and Apology. And that's the first book that we read, other than Plato's Republic. Allegory and the Cave. And the next philosopher that we read, other than St. Augustine about freedom, is Descartes. So Descartes' Meditations on First Philosophy. There are 6 meditations in total, but we finished all of them. And also wrote an exegetical paper on it, on meditation 3, I think. So it talks about, there's a concept called objective reality, which stands for the content of idea instead of the actual thing. So there's a really nice abstract concept of the parallel between abstract ideas and actual tangible thing that you can feel. And I think that's very interesting because what matters? Is it the idea exists in your head that matters? Or is the actual thing that you feel, the thing that you experience, you touch in real life that matters? So that's for meditation, 6 meditations by Descartes. And I really like Descartes. Where's my phone? My phone case, my phone's right here. So my phone case actually has Descartes on its back. So every day I look at Descartes. Alright, so that's Descartes. Overall, I like Plato better. Oh, Socrates has this really nice metaphor called torpedo fish. And that's really funny. So if you read 5 dialogues, you can probably notice that and you'll laugh at it. So if you get that reference, you're welcome. And then we continue to read in our philosophy class, David Hume, A Treatise of Human Nature. And then we moved on to Kant, Prolegomena. And we also did a little bit of critique of pure reason. So Kant, I have to say, is really hard to understand, and it's even more abstract than, much more abstract than Plato, of course. But then Descartes, there's math and physics involved. So Prolegomena, I think we only read the first section. Oh, how is pure mathematics possible? Yeah, so we did a little bit of main transcendental problem, and which is an interesting take on the comparison between Descartes and Kant versus Hume and Kant. So I can pull up the discussions that we had in class. So let's first talk about the comparison between Descartes and Kant. So Descartes talks about inner experience versus external experience, so outside experience. And Descartes argues that inner experience is immediate. So it follows by inner experience, external existence being deduced from the inner experience. And what does inner experience mean? Is that the senses, for example. So Kant, right here, in section 10, Kant says our perception of external objects is only possible by the means of time and space, which isn't something that we can touch in real life. So external experience is built on the conditions of our ideas. So Kant puts an emphasis on epistemological aspect of things and not ontological, so not beings. And let's have another example. Say motion in physics. You can't have physics. You can't examine the things without having the concept of time and space in your head. And that's the same argument for Kant going for geometry as well. So you can have the idea of math or arithmetics without the pure intuition of space and time. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all of these are fundamental to any math, basically, because geometry and calculus, they are built on arithmetics. And arithmetics can only exist via the condition of the concept of time. So that sequence of time is very interesting, instilled in the idea of math that we usually talk about. So that's Descartes versus Kant, and Kant versus Hume is another whole new discussion. So they talk about a priori, and Kant says we don't find causality in the world. Causality is in the world because our experience is an artifact created by our minds using a priori concepts. So essentially, what matters is the key to the discussion, in my opinion, is that Kant holds... Oh, there's also this concept of cause and effect relationship. So Kant synthesized rationalism and empiricism, continuing David Hume's ideas. And I think the difference between Kant and Hume is that Kant holds that causal ordering of object and concept in our experience as an act of intellect. So experience is made possible only by the conditions of human intellect, is the abstract ideas in our mind. And so what goes first, experience or the ideas like space and time comes first? The ordering is what matters for David Hume and Kant. So that's my take on David Hume, Kant, and Descartes and Plato. St. Augustine, I didn't really enjoy it. It was long and not very enjoyable. And then next, okay, that's pretty much done for the philosophy stuff. Oh, and I also got a few books from a books garage sale. This is David Hume, An Inquiry Concerning Human Nature. And this is Nietzsche, Twilight of the Idols. We're reading Nietzsche right now, actually. We're reading On Truth and Lies, and then Zarathustra. Yeah, I haven't started these books. Probably pretty soon. I might take a break from all the philosophy. Just reading some fun novels, story times, probably by like Kafka, or there's another one I have a whole list of books that I would love to read. So this is the other one that I'm reading for my class, called Because Internet. And this is for my discovery seminar, which is a linguistics class called Miscommunication. And it focuses on linguistics in the digital age. So studying emojis, text messages, which is super fun. Really, really, really cool. And I really enjoy the mindset linguists have. So yeah. That focuses on how people communicate, especially during the digital age. So that's pretty interesting. So the next book that I've been reading is called, it's from Oxford Press. A very short introduction to this series. This is one of them. This is the first book that I've been reading, called Leadership. So I think it's very interesting. It talks about how we define leadership, and whether we define it by who they are, what they do, how they do the things, so the process, or what's the other one? I forgot. Okay, so 4 of them. Leadership as position, so where leaders operate. Leadership as person, so like I said, who they are. As a result is what leaders achieve, what they've done. Or leadership as a process, how they achieve what they've done and how they get things accomplished, in essence. So that's the 4 aspects. Is a very nice way to think about how leaders lead, or what makes of a leader. And I'm about 50 pages in. I probably will finish it tomorrow and the day after, probably, because I've been super busy this couple of weeks dealing with exams. This is my 4th week of midterms. Oh. Yeah, and it also talks about, there's a new term that I learned called negative capability, which is the ability to still stay comfortable during uncertainty. And I think that term is crafted by Keats. There are also other terms that I find interesting. Egalitarianism, a political and cultural model rooted in equality and shared decision making. Oh, there's one, halo effect. So you probably have seen videos on YouTube talking about halo effect, comparing a rich doctor, not a rich doctor, all doctors are rich, no, I'm just kidding, a pretty handsome doctor, or aesthetically not that good looking doctor by the society's standards, which is like stupid. This assumption that a first positive impression colors all aspects of the other. That's not what the YouTube talks about, I just realized. But I think in this, it means in general, halo effect refers to if you're good at something, or if you're good looking, that overshadows your other things that you're not good at. So people focus on your good looks, and people are supposedly give you a better opportunity to advance into the medical world, to say, if you want to be a doctor. So this is the book that I just picked up. I'll start after I finish the leadership book. This is called Darkness at Noon. This is a novel, the one that I've been talking about. So this is about communism. I'm really excited to read this. So excited. Because that's one of the ways that I find books to read, is I read one book, and then it makes a reference to another book, so I look it up. So this is actually mentioned, I think, in the Amusing Ourselves to Death, in the conclusion paragraph, the conclusion chapter. And I'm really excited to read that. And the last but not least book that I borrowed, which I probably should return, this is an economics read called Limits to Growth, because I'm very interested in overpopulation, and so I thought, why not just borrow some books that really talks about more logistic side of overpopulation and how that connects to economics in general. I didn't know it was an economics read, so I think it talks a lot about models, productive system, and the global ecosystem. Didn't get the chance to start it. Probably skim through and then return it. So that's it for this week's video. I will probably make another one next week once I've finished leadership and whatever books that I want to read. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully the me that watched back on this video gets something juicy from this. All right, bye.